It's Wednesday, April 15th, 2020. The economic data is even worse than Wall Street feared. The economy is clearly in ruins. This is a title of an article on CNBC right here. And I want to go over this article, but first I want to just tell you a little bit about my day today. I was in Riverside, California, taking care of some business. Ran into an acquaintance of mine, I'm going to say friend, who owns a small business, an essential business. So he's doing pretty well right now because he is an essential business. And I talked to him for about 25 minutes today. And he just told me that many of his friends who own small businesses, specifically restaurants, they're literally drowning. They don't even know what's going to happen next. They've tried to get small business loans. Nobody's replied. Nobody's been answering the phones. And if you don't get a loan by this Friday, they're saying the money will run out by Friday. And everybody that I've spoken to who has a small business or knows somebody with a small business has told me the same thing. They haven't seen any money. They've gotten the runaround, left out hanging high and dry. And your heart goes out to these people because many of these people, it's their whole life, their small business. They worked for years and years in a small business, just trying to survive. Many of them struggled for years before that business was really successful. Many of them gambled everything they had, put up the house, every dime they had to open up that restaurant. And, you know, every day it's a struggle, it's a fight, right? To keep that business open, to keep it surviving. And many of these people have been around for years, and now they've been left high and dry, not knowing what tomorrow's going to bring, nothing but uncertainty, and your heart really has to go out. But when you go over an article like this one on CNBC and you look at these numbers, unfortunately, most of these people in small business, small restaurants, they're not gonna survive, and that's the unfortunate thing here, that we've left these people out high and dry, just left them out hanging. And it's so sad because this is what America is really all about, and we have forgotten the backbone of America, the lifeline, the veins that the blood runs through in the American body here, the small business. They've just been forgotten about, decimated. It's just really, really heart-wrenching. Let's go over some of this article here. March retail sales fell 8.7%, the most ever in government data. And the New York regional manufacturing activity hit an all-time low of negative 78.2. Dow Jones was down 445 points today. Not that it even matters at this point, but if this was a real market, if this was a free market, if it wasn't a manipulated market, the Dow Jones would be down thousands of points. Just going over these March numbers of what's happening, the Dow Jones should be down thousands of points. Industrial production fell 5.4%, the largest decline since 1946. Manufacturing down 6.3%. These are March numbers. Auto production down 28%. Gasoline station sales down 17.2%. And think about that. We're seeing like gasoline in some states under $2. Around $2.45 in my area, which is the lowest I've seen it in years. Yet gasoline sales are down 17.2%. Furniture sales down 26.8%. And you can just do the arithmetic here of what's going to happen to furniture sales as this housing market, this housing bubble is getting ready to burst. We're starting to see sales come down. New home builds are going to be down. Housing and real estate is going to be a horrific industry to be in very soon. Clothing and accessories down 50.5%. So people who think we're just going to bounce back to a normal economy, that things are just going to normalize over a week or two, they are drinking the Kool-Aid. We haven't even really seen the damage here yet. Here's another article on CNBC. Borrower requests for government's mortgage bailouts jumped 78% in 1 week. Number of borrowers now in forbearance has topped 2 million. And so I don't know if anybody knows this, because there just seems to be so many different answers out there. Are they going to tack this on at the end of the mortgage? Do you have to pay this money back next year at the end of the year? How is this all going to be paid back? When does it have to be paid back? But for people who are falling back multiple months without making a mortgage payment, sooner or later it's going to have to be paid back. And my question is, how do people get caught up with their mortgage payments unless this is tacked on at the very end of the mortgage? Just like small business, they're taking these loans that have to be paid back in a couple of years. It has to be paid back. And what if they cannot pay it back? If they have to let employees go, they're on the hook for these loans. Again, people are taking on so much debt, and many people had so much debt before all of this started, and now they're taking on all this government debt, being a slave to the government. Look, at the end of the day, we're going to see a lot of small business filing bankruptcy, a lot of small business that will not be able to pay these small business loans back. A lot of these small businesses just are going to go out of business because people just aren't going to return to a lot of these little stores and restaurants like they once did. Many people are going to be too broke or too scared to go out and even spend money. And ask yourself, with so many people being laid off, so many people losing jobs, getting wage cuts, where's the money going to come from to go back to the small retailers, to go back to the restaurants? Where's it going to come from? DailyMail.com. Could Macy's, Gap, and Kohl's collapse? Iconic retailers are struggling to survive during catastrophic crisis worse than the 2008 financial crisis, with 15,000 stores to close for good. Absolutely horrendous what we're seeing happen in retail, and it hasn't stopped. It just continues to destroy these retailers, big and small. Unemployment is skyrocketing. Remember, tomorrow we're going to get the new jobless claims. I was predicting 4 to 4.25 million jobless claims tomorrow. A lot of people in the comments are saying it's going to be around 7 million. So whatever it's going to be in the multi-millions. It's going to be historical, and it is not going to be good for the U.S. economy. And just think of what kind of ramifications this is going to have on retailers, on the restaurants. Right now, we have almost 17 million people who have gone jobless in the last 3 weeks. Tomorrow, we're going to be adding to that number, and it's going to be a devastating number. Here's an article I read yesterday, how to get your $1,200 emergency payment faster, but watch out for debt collectors. If you want to get it faster, it's got to be put into your bank account electronically. Now, many people have a lot of debt, and that means there are debt collectors going after people. Remember, your money is not as safe as you think it is in a bank, and these debt collectors know it because they're going to be going into a lot of people's bank accounts to get that $1,200 before you get it, before he gets it, before she gets it. The debt collectors know the money is coming, and they're going to be going through a lot of these bank accounts trying to get it before the average Joe gets it. And remember, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. Your money is not safe in a bank account. And a lot of people are going to learn a lesson here because that $1,200 that they need so desperately is not going to be there. The debt collector is going to get it before those people get it. It's just unbelievable what is going on here in America. Wall Street Journal, second wave of layoffs claiming workers who thought they were safe. Nobody is safe. Everybody is going to be touched by this collapse. And if you haven't been touched by it already, you know somebody who has, a friend, a family member. White collar workers are working from home. Those people that are working from home right now, they're being laid off by companies suffering dismal sales. So blue collar, white collar, whatever it might be, nobody is immune to what's coming. Law firms are cutting hours and eliminating positions as court systems and legal actions have grinded to a near standstill. Government workers are being furloughed amid city and state shortfalls. Now, this is very scary. Just these states, like, for example, Illinois, and there's so many more, but I'm going to use Illinois as an example. They're already defaulting on their bills. They've already had to let off so many people. They can't hire new police officers. They can't hire additional garbage collectors. Their pensions are going bust. They can't even pay the lottery winners in Illinois. They're so broke. And so what is going to happen with these cities and states as they start defaulting on massive debt? People, the state and county workers start losing their jobs. It's going to be an utter mess. I don't think anybody can quite comprehend where this is all going. Even healthcare workers are finding themselves without work. You know, we can all blame the infection, but the real cause of all this is the economy. It's debt. This depression is not going to discriminate about who you are, what you are, how much money you have, how much money you don't have. It is not going to discriminate. Lawyers, architects, consultants, advertising professionals, healthcare workers, information workers, people that work in warehouses, construction, retail, auto sales. It's going to affect everybody, and the list goes on and on, right down to your landscaper, your babysitter, to the guy that cleans your pool. This list is going on and on. Businesses that are owed money right now are not getting paid. So if business A is owed money by business B cannot pay business A right now. So their accounts receivable is dwindling. I was reading in some articles today, good-sized businesses with 1,000+ employees saying that their accounts receivable is down to a couple $100 or less. I mean, that is unbelievable what's happening here. Look out for industries, as I said earlier, such as real estate. Look out for the manufacturing industry. Look out at the finance industry. These industries are about to get pulverized. Article today on wolfstreet.com, and it was talking about shipping volume. You know, we talked about this months ago, maybe even a year ago, about shipping volume when we talked about truck, rail, air, and barge. And look, this didn't just start happening yesterday. We were talking back in 2019 about the decreasing numbers across the board in shipping volume. If we look at truck, rail, air, and barge, it has plunged 9.2% in March, according to the Case Freight Index for shipment. It was the 16th month in a row of year-over-year declines. Railroads fell 6% year over year. Containers and trailers fell 12%. Railroads have been reporting weak numbers way before any of this crisis even hit. I reported probably about 6 months ago around 450,000 railroad cars. 450,000 railroad cars were sitting idle in storage. Let me repeat that. We're going back at least 6 months ago. 450,000 railroad cars sitting in storage, not needed. That should tell you something about shipping, the volume. So, you know, we have to be very, very careful what we blame all this on. What we blame it on is a failing economy and massive debt. This is the cause of the trouble. Otherwise, we would not be seeing the devastation and the decimation that we're seeing being caused right now after a few bad weeks of this economy. Philadelphia Inquirer. And look, do your own due diligence. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to anybody. Listen to yourself. Use your own ears and your own eyes and do your own due diligence here. More than 2,100 U.S. cities brace for budget shortfalls, with many planning cuts and layoffs. What do you think the effects, the implications of this is going to have on the U.S. economy, on manufacturing, on retail, on auto sales, on people jumping on airplanes, going to resorts, spending money at the mall, at the mom and pop retailer, at the mom and pop restaurant? What do you think the implications are going to be when we start seeing cities bracing for shortfalls? And not just cities, states, and quite literally the entire country. Wall Street Journal. Wall Street feasts on federal aid while Main Street starves. Isn't that the truth? And just talk to your local small business owner. They're starving. Wall Street Journal. Ruth Chris Steakhouse gets $20 million from aid program. It's on Wall Street Journal yesterday, right there. So while your small business gets decimated, Ruth Chris gets $20 million. And you think Ruth Chris didn't have the deep pockets, the attorneys, the accountants to make the right phone calls, didn't have the right connections at the bank to be first in line, while the little guy gets squashed like a worm, while they don't even return the little guy's phone calls. Ruth Chris right here, Ruth Chris got a phone call immediately. It's not an even playing field here, no doubt. The big boys are going to survive. The little guy is getting decimated. Zero Hedge today. Hedge fund managers quietly apply for bailouts as small businesses. Several hedge funds have attempted to tap into the $349 billion Paycheck Protection Program. They know what they're doing. They've got the deep pockets. They've got the attorneys. They've got the accountants. They've got the connections with the government, with the banks. The rules of the program make clear that the banks and insurance companies are ineligible for small business loans. It's less clear where hedge funds and proprietary trading shops fall. The Treasury and Small Business Administration's policies are unfortunately a little murky. Daily Mail. Thousands of cars line up to get into a Los Angeles food bank as droves of desperate Americans wait for hours. It says here that thousands of cars, that's thousands of people waiting in Los Angeles for food. I mean, we are seeing the soup lines, the bread lines right now here in America taking place. And technically, we're not even in a depression yet. Many aren't even admitting that we're even in a recession at this point. But when you read articles like this in the Daily Mail, all you have to do is connect the dots, add 2 plus 2, and you're going to figure out where this is all going. Again, I don't even care what the stock market does at this point. It's so detached from reality. But we know where this economy is going. When you're seeing thousands of people in one of the richest states in America, California, supposedly one of the richest states, minutes from Beverly Hills, thousands of people are lining up for food because they're starving, they're broke, they're desperate. This is America today. And you can read the trend of where this is all going. We are heading into the worst global crisis, the worst depression the world has ever seen. This is going to be a global depression, ladies and gentlemen. You know, if we can separate our personal disgust of how corrupt the financial system is, how manipulated it is, all the criminality, how unfair it is, if we can get over that, we can start to look at the opportunity that lies ahead. People are going to make generational fortunes. During the worst times in history, people have made millions. And I think that as bad as this is going to be, we have to be optimistic here. There's going to be opportunity. There's going to be prosperity. And this is why I make these videos, because I truly believe that it's all about how you're living your life right now. Are you saving money? Are you getting the debt paid off? Are you getting your preparations topped off? Are you buying hard tangible assets like the 2 most undervalued assets on planet Earth, gold and silver? Real money. The dollar is going to come under severe pressure. And the dollar, with hyperinflation that's coming, everything that the Fed is doing, the massive money printing, the buying of treasuries, the buying of bonds, the buying of ETFs, all this debt that's being created by the Fed, it is going to cause hyperinflation. You need to be protecting yourself. You need to be putting yourself in a position to prosper. This is the time to make a plan and a time right now to execute it. If you're just going to sit on the couch all day, collect your $1,200 check, drink beer, smoke weed, and play video games, good luck to you. The stimulus is going to run out. Hyperinflation is coming to the dollar. If you're going to continuously rely on the government to save you, you're going to be in big trouble. This is the time to make a plan. This is the time to start executing that plan. 16.75 million people filed jobless claims in the last 3 weeks. Tomorrow, that number is going to be over 20 million. This problem is going to get much worse. Playing video games, drinking beer, smoking weed, collecting stimulus checks is not going to fix the problem. Too many Americans are depending on the government to save them. 16.75 million jobless claims as of right now. More coming tomorrow. These people are debt slaves to the government. The more you take, the more of a slave you are to the government. You are a debt slave. And just look at what is happening. The economy is being frozen. It is being broken. It is being forced into the greatest depression the world has ever seen, forcing people to become debt slaves. Remember, nothing is free. This is really scary stuff where we're all going, where people now have no choices but to be dependent on the U.S. government. I mean, I'm hearing now that they're proposing another bill where people 16 and over will get $2,000 a month for, I believe it was around 4 months or 6 months, plus $500 for every 1 to 2 kids they have. And it's absolutely insanity what we're seeing. Could you imagine? This is a bill that's being proposed right now that they want to start in June. $2,000 a month for anyone over 16 years old who is a citizen. This is where we are heading. Who would pay for all that? Who's paying for all the bailouts? Who's paying for all this right now? Who's paying for all this stimulus? Going to be huge consequences, ladies and gentlemen. The Fed is buying everything. The Fed is blanketing the entire bonds market with purchases. Tomorrow, millions of jobless claims will be announced. Markets rally hard because bonds are essentially worthless. So money is flowing into the stock market while these companies have no earnings. So everything's propped up. It's being propped up by the Fed. The Fed now buying into the stock market, buying bonds, buying treasuries, injecting billions into the repo market, which we don't even talk about at this point. All this means this: you better have a plan today. You better be executing that plan today. You better have gold and silver. And we're talking monetary right now. Your monetary future, your monetary buying power. Yes, you better have that can of beans, you better have that bottle of water, you better have security, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But when the dust settles and things open back up and we get back to a monetary system, you better be holding gold, you better be holding silver, because I think the US dollar is going to be in big trouble. This is a no-brainer where all this is going. It's going to make metals the only thing that does have monetary value. It's the real money. And remember, if you don't hold the physical gold, the physical silver, you don't own it. We're coming into a time, ladies and gentlemen, where we have never seen this type of uncertainty, this type of danger. What we're seeing happening economically is going to have dire consequences to the future of this country. And if you're not preparing, if you're not executing a plan right now, you are going to be a victim to what is coming. I can guarantee you that. You know, they say some people will protect themselves with paper, their stocks, their dollar bills, and I think you should have some cash, no doubt about that. But at the end of the day, the thing that's going to really protect you is metal, like gold and silver, the two most undervalued assets on planet Earth. And if you can get it, and I don't give financial advice, I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm sharing with you what I'm doing. I continue to buy it. Prices are definitely much higher, so I can't buy as much. But I do take what I can, and I do acquire what I can. Everything I went over with you today is only guaranteeing that gold and silver are going to skyrocket. They're going to be the only things that can protect you financially. Yes, you better have food, you better have water, and yes, you better have security and all of those things. There's no doubt about that. But again, when the dust clears and the lights turn back on and we get back into whatever system it's going to be, you know, that bottle of water, that can of beans isn't going to buy you an acre of land. It's not going to buy you a house or a car. You're going to need monetary, real money like gold and silver. Gold and silver recognized in any country in the entire world. I can go anywhere in the world and put down an ounce of gold and people are going to give me that currency of that country to go buy something. People recognize gold and silver as the true money, God's money. Look, people are going to do whatever they believe they need to do. And I'm just sharing with you what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep doing what I've been doing, topping off all preps, buying more silver, buying more gold. That's what my friends are doing. That's what my family members are doing. That's what I'm doing. And I'm doing it because I believe in it. Gold and silver have been here for 5,000 years. They're not going anywhere. The central banks are buying as much as they can. Why is that? Because they know the value of real assets like gold and silver. I'm going to leave it there today. We're going to see what the jobless numbers are tomorrow. It's going to be very interesting to see that number. What's going to be more interesting is going to see what it does to the stock market. Is the market going to go up tomorrow? If we get 4 or 5 million jobless claims, are we going to see the Dow Jones up 400 or 500 points tomorrow? We could. Or it could be down 400 or 500 or 1,000 points. The volatility is insane. More reasons why you better be holding hard, tangible assets, why you better be preparing. There is a very dark storm out there. It's getting very, very close, and it is going to victimize a lot of people. Don't be a victim. Be a survivor of what is coming. God bless every one of you. Make sure you share this video with everybody. Post it all over social media. Thumbs up on this video. And if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe so that you get the newest video. God bless every one of you. Thanks for watching. Have a good evening.